Well, okay, I had to cancel my plane. Oh, well, and I said, don't come now, come around Christmas time. And, or stay there or come at Christmas time. I didn't want to stay anymore. It's been 9 months. I wanted to find out. I was still in high school.
Right.
I mean, I haven't graduated yet, but I just wanted to find my life. I thought I would find my life.
Right.
So I decided to go contact Don Amador to say, I'm coming anyway. I'm going to LA. And it was too late, so I took the Greyhound bus, and he didn't tell me to come, but I just said, I'm coming. But he didn't know what day or whatever, and I got there, and I met him, and he helped me, to live in LA until that Christmas. And I was going to move Christmas time to San Francisco from LA. And
what, did that happen? Did you then move during the Christmas time,
well, no,
or
because
did you stay in LA?
I got to LA on October 7th, 1978. It was almost a month after my birthday. And like I said, I contacted Don Amador. He was helping me. And then one day, it was November 27th, I had a month left before I had to move to San Francisco. And it was the day before Thanksgiving, and I was watching Days of Our Lives. And there was a breaking news that Mayor Moscone and Harvey Milk in San Francisco was killed. Now, let me tell you about Harvey Milk just for a second. Harvey Milk was the first gay elected official that came openly with his supervisor, or he was a supervisor. He became well known because he went public of his gay life. Well, the mayor of San Francisco and him was shot down by Dan White. At first he thought it was Jim Jones, because 10 days before that, Jim Jones killed 900 people in Ghana. And so they thought it had to do with Jim Jones, because Harvey Milk knew Jim Jones. Because Jim Jones was in the housing department, the mayor had elected years ago, Jim Jones. So there was a connection there, just a little one. And so they thought he had something to do with it, Jim Jones.
Wasn't him.
Well, that group, he was already dead, but it was someone in that group. But of course it was Dan White. He was also a supervisor. And he quit his job, and he wanted to quit his job because he didn't like being around Harvey Milk. And then people say, you gotta go back to your job, and the mayor would not let him come back. So he got angry, and he was an ex-cop, and he shot Harvey Milk and Mayor Moscone.
Okay. Gerard, you're in LA, and you hear now that Harvey Milk has been shot and is dead. How did that affect you?
Well, it was one of the worst feelings. I mean, it was even worse when Jack committed suicide. It was worse because now I'm not going to be going to San Francisco on Christmas time of '78. I'm going to be stuck in LA, and he's gone, and all my gay friends deserted me. And
why do you think they did that?
I think because I think they deserted because Harvey was their idol too, and he was my idol. I mean, it was almost like civil rights or something. He was our leader because remember he was a leader for everybody. I mean, everybody in San Francisco, but he cared about everybody. He really cared about everybody, not just gays, but everybody. And our idol was gone. And you have to remember, they were passing laws in St. Paul, Minnesota to fire gay people.
During this time?
It was this time, amendments. They were trying to get amendments, and they didn't pass it. They did it in Wichita, Kansas. They had the same bill to fire any gay people. In Eugene, Oregon, they had the same thing. They had one in Florida.
So now people were afraid when their champion had died?
Our champion died. And but what really turned was when I felt the gays left me. I felt I was all alone.
So, Gerard, you were at a low point. Harvey Milk has died, and you feel emotionally down. Your gay friends have left you, and you're in LA, 18 years old. What do?
Well, I kind of remember something that happened in October, a few months prior to this. And I remember that couple. There was a couple that I met. They were from Jews for Jesus. And I was with my new partner, thinking that it was going to last forever. And but anyway, this couple was witnessing to me about the Lord and how they were set free from homosexuality. And at that time, I wasn't ready yet because I just got to LA and I needed to experience to find, my true life, So I rejected them. And so after all this happened with Harvey Milk and the death and depression, I thought about that couple, but one day, it was in February, I had gone to school and I saw this couple. The same couple, and you just don't meet people twice in Los Angeles. At that time, it was 7, 8, 9 million people. You just don't meet people, twice. And so I saw this couple that I'd been in October. Now this is like in February, and they were talking. I went up to them. I said, "I remember you two." I was so joyful. I didn't know why I was joyful to see this couple. And I said, "What are you doing here?" And they said, "Well, we don't know why we're here. We just came up here." So I really felt that God had put them there for me to see them. I was going to high school, and I was trying to finish my high school in LA, and they were at the library.
And what did they say?
They said, we'd like to invite you to a Jews for Jesus service. Would you like to come? Well, this is end of February, like the 28th, and Friday would have been the 2nd. And I said, "What day do you want me to come?" And he said, "This Friday." So it was March 2nd. And I said, "Sure." At that time, I knew I needed something because I felt that gay life was a lie. I felt very empty. I'm not a sex object. I was a human being that needed to be loved. I didn't like this life anymore. And I thought, well, maybe this is going to be better to go with them. So I went to... that week, I had like 4 days left, 3 days before March 2nd, Friday of 78 or 79. And I thought, gee, I want them to like me. So I went to West Hollywood to buy an outfit because I really want them to like me. And so I got this outfit, and then here comes March 2nd. And I told I was living with a guy at the time, and we were just roommates. He was a gay man, very wealthy man. I said, "I'm going to go to church," and he thought, or Jews for Jesus, and he thought that was weird. So my ride came, and I went to, I had my new outfit on. I got in the car. We went to this house in Beverly Hills. It was a Jews for Jesus house. And I walked in, and I saw something I've never experienced. I mean, I was raised Catholic, and I went to Mass every week. I was pretty faithful in that, but they had something that I didn't have. And they didn't care about my new outfit. They cared about me. They were asking questions. I felt something I have never experienced, even in the Catholic Church. I felt something inside, or just a joy, and I was so glad to be there. Gayness was so far from me that night. I was so happy to be there. It was like fellowship. I didn't know the word fellowship meant, but being around people and seeing Jesus in their face, and it was just a beautiful night. And well, anyway, the rabbi was talking about being born again, and I sure didn't, I didn't know what that meant, and we didn't learn that in the Catholic Church about being born again. And the rabbi said, "Do you want to be born again? Do you want Jesus to be born inside you? To accept, born again means you let Jesus Christ be born into your heart." And so anyway, and they said, "Does everyone want that? Raise your hand." So I just raised my hand.